My youth so happy, my hair so nappy.
I hear you, man. I hear you. Bertrand, before you go, who was your man of the match?
They give it to Rice. Give it to Rice. None of the forwards deserve it. The defenders didn't have too much pressure. He probably had more touches than anyone else, so give it to him. He and Odegaard actually had more touches. Odegaard may have come close, given that he scored, you know. So,
True.
Yeah, but I'll say Rice is fine if that's what Sky's giving. So, guys, have a great weekend. Enjoy the rest of the weekend.
Right, Arsenal are back on top, guys. Gary, what's your thoughts?
We made hard work of it. Again, I don't think he goes to the bench enough. You know, another game coming up in 72 hours. It's going to be pretty much the same team. Going to give a couple of players a rest here. I know there's only 5 games left, but we've got to win all 5, right? So you need to try and do everything you possibly can to put the team in the position to do that. And I'm not too sure the position of doing that is to keep playing the players for every second of every game when some of them clearly are hitting walls in their physicality stats. But overall, got the job done. Made hard work of it. Should have been a lot easier. Could have scored a few more, but pleased with the result.
Yeah, BBC have given Declan Rice man of the match as well in terms of recoveries. I did see him, by the way, knock out the recoveries in the duels today, which is what he always does. But I did say last week, he was one of the players that concerned me because I felt his levels had dropped. And when you're talking about a guy like that, who gets you 8 out of 10 in every single game, for them levels to drop, you can't afford to do it. You cannot afford to have that subpar level from your £100 million man. Andrew, thanks for joining us. I appreciate that, mate. Thank you for joining us. Always a pleasure to have you here, man. So, look, what did I see today? I saw a team that was wounded. I saw a team just struggling to find their feet. You get to a stage, guys, and it happens with every team. Doesn't matter who you are, in every sport, where you just run into a brick wall and then you have to find yourself again. And that can be a very disruptive and difficult process. Last week was tough. I'm not going to lie. Last week was tough. And you guys know I don't do negativity very well. But last week was hard, man. And it reminded me of those weeks in March where we had those 7 days under Wenger where we were out of this cup, out of that cup, and out of the title race. And those,
I remember them well.
Yeah, just some painful times. You know, we got to understand the emotion drives a massive movement in the fan base. And I think in the previous weeks and previous times, I've spent so much time just trying to reason. And last week, I just wasn't in the mood to reason. I was like, look, this is what it is. We've got one simple goal now moving forward, and that's to win every game, win all out. Because as much as everybody would like to say Man City is going to stroll the title, they've got some huge away games. Brighton, Fulham. Like, do you want to play Fulham right now at their place? Like, no team wants that. You know, their games are not easy.
Well, it only takes them to draw a game, and then we're back in it on the goal difference side of things.
Exactly. I mean, they've got, as I said, we've got our 2 games before they play Brighton next week. So if we win on Tuesday, we could be 4 points ahead. And then Man City have 2 games in hand. But they've got that Brighton Thursday night game. It's a Thursday night game, which I find strange, to be honest, because they play again at Nottingham Forest away on the Sunday. So that's like being in the Europa League and they're playing on the weekend.
And don't forget, they haven't got Haaland. He's out with a muscle injury.
That's right. Yeah.
And
the worst thing is, Gary, is that they've got a week before the end of the season. They've got to go to Tottenham away, a place they've lost 4 times in the last 6 matches at Tottenham's ground. They haven't done well there against Spurs. So, yeah, I'm sure every Tottenham fan would want to lie down and then just give City the title. But
like we did against Villa to take Tottenham back out of 4th.
Yeah, wasn't that nice? Every what did they say? Every cloud has a silver lining. Guys in the chat, give me your thoughts. Let me know what your thoughts are about today's performance. Yeah, really tough one, but I like when we go into these games, we don't expend too much energy. We just get the job done, business-wise, professional, and then come home and then regroup. Because like I said, man, and I've said it plenty of times, that Aston Villa game took a lot out of us. When I did my vlog video, which you guys have seen on the channel, at halftime I said I was exhausted just watching it. We just absolutely, it was the hare and the tortoise. We ran ourselves out and we had nothing left on the back end. And Emery, it was like rope the dope, Muhammad Ali. It was like rope the dope all over again, Ali Foreman. We just punched ourselves out. And that wasn't a good thing to see. I didn't like what I saw. Tony, you want to talk us through that while I do the player ratings?
Yeah, sure. Why not? So, yeah, you can see the who scored stats from the game. Most shots was Havertz had 5, Martin Odegaard had 5. You kind of think that Gabriel Jesus, as a player of his caliber, should be up there. He only had 2 shots, none on target. The shots on target were 2 from Kai Havertz, 1 from Odegaard, 2 from Declan Rice, 1 from Bukayo Saka, 1 from Leandro Trossard. So, you know, this whole Gabriel Jesus is a striker, he's a winger, he's a this, he's a that. The stats just don't help his case any. You know, I've seen on a number of places this week that Arteta makes a massive mistake. Every time Gabriel Jesus is fit, he brings him into the lineup. Quite clearly, he shouldn't.
I think he waited a little bit longer this time, but yeah, it all leads back. Roads leads back
quite clearly, he shouldn't. You look at key passes, yeah? 2 from Kai Havertz, yeah? 3 from Martin Odegaard, 5 from Declan Rice, 3 from Bukayo Saka, 1 from Gabriel Jesus. Now, I know he gets the assist, but even that assist was an accident.
It was. He was trying to cut back inside and it rolled off his other boot. And
yeah, that assist was an accident. So, you know, look, even Ben White had 2 key passes, which is more than Gabriel Jesus, who everyone's flouting as this mercurial forward genius who plays in multiple positions and who can do all these wonderful things. Well, what can he do? What is he doing in a game that we dominated today, where we should have had 5 or 6 goals? He simply just does nothing. He's not providing what we expect of a player, earning the money he's earning, and with the responsibility that he's given. Pass accuracy. This is normally Saliba's win. Ben White wins at 95.8. William Saliba comes second, 94.1. Who else had 90s? Martin Odegaard, 91. Declan Rice, 91. Aerial duels won. Not sure how David Raya wins 1, but Ben White won 2. Gabriel Magalhaes won 2. William Saliba won 2. Jakub Kivior won 5. Kai Havertz led the team with 6 aerial duels won. And I pretty much know that every time he won one, nobody was on the other side to collect it.
That's true. You know, if you win 6, someone's got to collect at least 2 of them.
Somebody
or be in the vicinity to collect 2 of them.
I have to take a gamble. My centre forward's going to win the header, and I'm going to run onto it and be 1-on-1 with the goalkeeper.
There you go.
Yeah. The most productive player on the pitch today in terms of passes.
Odegaard.
72, 85. Was it 85 for Ben White?
Oh, Ben White. Okay.
Actually, William Saliba had 90. But you can probably guess that Ben White's touches are going to be more advanced than William Saliba. But well done, Ben White, with 85. And then Declan Rice, 72. Bukayo Saka, 77. Gabriel Jesus, that wonderful player, that mercurial forward that we have, only 46.
I'm sensing there's something in your voice about Gabriel Jesus here, Tony.
You say what you say, Gary. I'm not going to say anything more. You say what you say. Yellow cards today, 1 for Declan Rice, 1 for Leandro Trossard. 1 assist was Gabriel Jesus, 2 goals, Martin Odegaard and Leandro Trossard. So those are your stats for the day. We're pleased to see that Arsenal have kept a clean sheet now away from home in 6 consecutive games.
I think that's a record.
For the first time in their history.
Yeah, I think that's actually a Premier League record because Chelsea have the record for the fewest goals scored, but the away record, we drew it last time in adjacent to tying the 1997 Arsenal record and the 2019 Manchester City. That was 5 clean sheets away from goals. So this 6 means, yes, it's a new record.
Okay. And the last that I've got was Leandro Trossard has set a new personal best for goals in the Premier League. He's now notched up 9 goals this season, his best tally in the Premier League. 1 more, and he's got a double dose of goals in the league. So he's got 5 more games in which to get that 1 more goal. Yeah, guys, that's me. Done.
Excellent. So shout out to Richard. Richard says consistent winning predictability is not the worst place to be. Clean sheets are all almost criminally overlooked 100%. Austin says 3 goals, no animals. What?
We had 24 shots in the game and only 9 on target.
Okay.
Expected goals 1.21.
Okay, right. Let's do player ratings now. Ashley, do I pause? Okay.
53 touches in the opposition box.
Yeah, I'm looking at it now. I mean, look, it's complete domination today. I'm actually surprised that they got 3 shots on target because we don't normally give those up. But that's just indicative of our little patch that we're going through. As Gary and Tony told me last week and reminded me, actually, I had some serious brain fog last week. Purple patch time. Yeah, we're coming into some good times now. We won't worry about Jamie Redknapp and Theo Walcott are there on the screen. So let me quickly talk. David Raya, a really smart. It was going to be a 6.5, but I moved it to a 7. He had a smart stop that saved from Gomez in the first half. Really quick reactions to tip the ball onto the post. And really, I think that saved us. That one move from Raya pretty much saved us today. So he gets a solid 7, really good 7 from him. Ben White gets a 6. Again, I made a comment on the stream that Saka goes as Ben White goes. And the more you support him with triangles and the overlap, the more Saka. Because remember, when Ben White goes into that baseline position, Saka then is allowed to cut in. But where he can do so much damage, but he will not cut in if Ben White is not there. And that's the thing that I think is hurting his performance. And it's hurting Arsenal. This again goes down to Ben White. And don't get me wrong, pre-Christmas, Ben White was awful. In the new year, Ben White was probably one of the top 3 players in the team, in my opinion.
Saka about to talk. Do you want to listen to Saka?
Yeah, you can turn that up because you're ahead of me, although I'm probably going there now. Yeah, you can turn that one up if you want, Tony.
I think we controlled most of the game, and then it's 2 great goals and another clean sheet, so we're really pleased with that.
I know you said you controlled most of the game, and certainly statistically that's borne out. What did you make of Arsenal's performance overall tonight?
Yeah, like I said, I think we could have scored more goals, especially in the first half. We had some chances from the edge of the box, but yeah, we were searching for that first goal, and luckily it came with me. And then after that, I think we controlled it and tried to score the second one. Obviously, it came a bit late, but we're really happy with it.
Leandro, congratulations, Jamie Redknapp here. 9 goals this season. That's your best return in the Premier League. Just talk us through that one. Was it the sweetest strike?
Not maybe the sweetest, but I knew I had a small amount of time to hit the ball, and at the moment I see the ball coming in front of me, I had to use my toe as well to get it in and get it on target, and it went in. Yeah, really nice. Obviously top bin, so it's really a great goal.
The top bins, as we say here, right in the top bins.
Yeah.
But how's the week been? Just give us a flavour of the disappointments that you've had to go through on Sunday with that result, and then obviously having to travel in Europe. How hard has it been for you guys as a team, as the manager, or what's been said in this week to make sure that you were ready to get the 3 points today?
I think the resilience has been brilliant. Obviously, it's always tough when you lose games, especially, like I said, after the run we had by winning so many games. And yeah, then it's up to the boys to show a great character and mentality. And I think we did that today. And all we can do is focus on ourselves and win our own games, and then we will see what happens.
Leandro, Theo Walcott here. I just want to say, as a forward, I'm very proud to see that goal, first of all, because they all count in my eyes. But I just want to talk to you about the defence. There's been a lot of talk about, Gabriel and Saliba particularly, but on your perspective as a winger, because the amount of work rate that you need to do, and Bakary on the other side as well, just give us an insight to how you're drilled day in, day out with training and the fitness levels, because it starts from the front, and I'm always going to stick with the fellow wingers.
Yeah, indeed. I think the boss wants everyone to sprint back when there's a counter or whatever, and he wants everyone to get involved in the defensive things. And I think we showed that all over the pitch, that everyone is so hungry to help the team in the defensive line as well to win those second balls. And I think it's really important in nowadays football.
And Leandro, as Jamie said earlier, it's your best goal scoring season in the Premier League, and it feels like they've been really significant goals that you've scored as well. I mean, how much satisfaction can you take from not just the number of goals that you've scored, but when you've scored them and the games that you've scored them in?
Yeah, obviously it's always nice to score goals, and especially in big moments. And yeah, I'm just happy that I can help the team on those moments, that it helps us go forward. And yeah, I'm really pleased with it.
And how nice to be travelling back to North London, top of the league again.
Yeah, it's great. Like I said, we wanted this win. We needed a response. I think we did. So let's enjoy this one and look forward to the next game.
Leandro, lovely to talk to you. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Well done. Thank you.
Right, let me carry on with the player ratings. Where was I? Ben White gets a 6. Both of the centre backs. Oh, look, they kept a clean sheet, and that's why they both get a 7. But Saliba's been so sloppy of late. Again, guilty of a poor pass out the backfield, which nearly cost his side. I'm not going to mark him down just for that, because he does give you a clean sheet. But I've been seeing this from Saliba since February. It's like, what's going on, bro? Switch it on, man. Get your head in the game. You can't afford to have any mistakes at this level. I said against Man City and I said against Bayern Munich that when you're playing teams, well-oiled drill machines that win constantly, year in, year out, lifting titles, winning cups, you can't afford to make mistakes. And for a long period, I thought that we had taken that out of our game. But it's clear by evidence, especially in the first Bayern Munich game and the last Premier League game, that this stuff is starting to creep back into our game. So we need to nip that in the bud. Arteta, that's on you. You got to sort that out. So yeah, a little bit of down talk there by Saliba, but I'm still going to give them both a 7. Gabriel looked really fatigued to me. He looked really tired, and he was gassed. His hands on his knees, just looked really tired, but still put in a performance. I like the one where the ball went loose and on a back pass, and then he comes in and he bodies the striker just to let him know who's there. Again, still probably the better centre-back of the season. Going to be interesting to see when the votes come in, how that relaxes, how that works itself out. Kivior, he looked a little bit uncomfortable. I think, and look, great, well done for the manager to put him in. He could have gone with other options, although this was the clear option when Tomiyasu couldn't make the team. But you've got to show faith in your players as well, and every player makes mistakes. And so, yes, the guy made a mistake. Yes, it cost us. Yes, he had a bad performance in his last game, but for the last 8 games before that, Kivior is pretty good. And so it's a very difficult thing, guys, when you're a manager, because you've got to play those games. You got to nurture the situation, which most fans don't have the opportunity to do. So I kind of feel that with Arteta at the moment, but he's got to do better. He's got to do better because we need him right now at this run of games. So he gets a 6. Havertz got no service whatsoever. I know he put in a defensive performance. I thought he was solid defensively. But offensively, I thought that he could have done better I thought he was wasteful with some of his touches. But again, link play, heading the ball on, winning the balls. He won 3 or 4 balls today, and there was no support around him. I feel sorry for him with that. This is probably one of the lowest marks I've given him this season. But then I think he does a solid defensive job in this role. Probably, you know what? It's a bit unfair to give him a 5, I think. I'm going to give him a 6. Considering what's coming up with Jesus and Saka, I think it's a bit unfair to give him that mark. So I'm going to give Havertz a 6. Rice, I thought Rice had a solid game. He didn't do a whole lot wrong, and I saw a couple of recoveries and duels there, which he normally does, which has kind of been missing the last few weeks. He's definitely lost a step. It's definitely a zip, and there's something's gone. I don't know whether he's played too much football. I don't know what it is. I don't know whether it's in the intensity in the system that's requiring him to do more. But he definitely, to me, looks like he needs a rest, which is a shame because in the next 7 days, he definitely ain't going to get one with 2 really tough games to come up. So, look, just hope and pray that he's able to hold it together. Martin Odegaard, he gets my man of the match. Another player who looked like he's suffering from fatigue, but he kept on going and he kept on going and galvanizing his players, and his impact cannot be, underestimated. The second goal as well, a little cheeky little flick in there. What's that? That's his 11th goal this season. A lot of people are saying he won't be able to get anywhere near the record-breaking numbers of Frank Lampard and Cesc Fabregas, and he set 15 goals from an attacking midfielder, which is a Premier League record. And everyone said, oh, he's not going to get anywhere near that. And so what has he got? 11 goals and still got 5 more games to play. So your captain is tired, he's fatigued, But guess what? He's still coming in. He's rolling up his sleeves. He's doing a shift. And if he can do it, everybody else can do it. That's the way how I see it. Lead by example. Next one up is Jesus. Look, last week when I reported on the match, I said the Gabriel Jesus striker experiment is over. And I said it's been over for a while. And I was honestly shocked and surprised to see Arteta start him today. And look, that's not saying, and this is where people have to be careful. It's not saying he didn't put in a shift. I thought he put in a shift. But it doesn't seem like there's any, like, what are you doing in that shift? Yeah? You're running around, you're gassing out, you're giving us the energy, but where is that energy going? Why aren't you at that anchor role at that number 9? You're not playing at 8 today. You're not playing at 11. You was given the designated number as the main striker. And I counted 4 balls were played across the 6-yard line. 4, and you went, not only were you not on the end of them, but you were nowhere near in the vicinity of those chances. And not only does it mean we don't score, but it means that the guy who could have got the assist doesn't get the assist. He doesn't get rewarded for his work. You're hurting me, man. And that's why I gave up on you last week. I like you as a player. I always have done. For me, you should be on the left starting. For me, at the number 9 role, that's gone. That's gone as far as Jesus goes. So you get a 5. Saka gets a 5 as well. And again, guys, this isn't so much on Saka. It's also predicated on the support, the lack of, by Ben White as well. But again, he looked tired. Is he injured? He's not able to create separation and get away from defenders. He just isn't. He knocks the ball. I saw him today, knock the ball forward twice, and the defender outran him. So look, something's going on there. And look, if he is fatigued, then start Reece Nelson against Chelsea. Who cares? Reece Nelson will come in and do a job for you. And not only will he do a job, is he will give you as much as Saka will give you as far as energy, closing and running. He'll do that. You know why? Because he's been doing that for you for years. A lot of people, I remember I talked about 3 years ago in COVID when we beat Liverpool 2-1. Yeah? Who was one of the main culprits that closed Liverpool down and shut them down on the front line for 90 minutes in that game? No, you forget that. Some people think Nelson just come in the other day. Some people think he just born the other day. No, Nelson's been there for years and he's been giving you performances for years. The problem is lack of playing time. That's all. That's all it is. And, you know, so for me, man, you got to give Saka a rest. You got to give him a rest. You can't allow him to have games like this and then have to justify at the end of it why he struggled. It's not, what are you doing, man? And this is why I question some of the man management from Arteta. It's because of these reasons. Yes, I'm going to give him a 5. Trossard, he gets a 7. I'm a fan. I like the player. And as I said, if Jesus isn't going to start on the left, I would prefer him over Martinelli simply because he knows what to do with the ball. He knows what positions he needs to be in. He knows where to put the ball in terms of ball placement, to play the right weight of passes. He knows all of that. That's what Martinelli might be able to give you the speed, but he can't give you anything else outside of creativity. But this guy is just very intelligent. And as we talked about this, didn't we? We talked about the Smith Rowe, Phil Foden, how these players don't have positions, right? We call them, well, I call them pocket players. They just find those pockets in the box and then they just make things happen. And you know, whether you play him at the left, fine, you can call it on the left, but most of the damage that he does will be in the penalty area, and that's where he scored his goal. Really, really nice outside. I know he probably didn't know much about it, but sometimes that's what happens. Yeah, you got to count them all. They all count. They all count. But it was just that some of the work he was doing in link play as well. Just a quality player. Didn't think it was an exceptional performance, which is why he gets a 7. But well needed. And Arteta, he gets a 7 today. And again, set your team up really well. Another clean sheet, 6 in a row away from home. You're back on top of the table. And it's your white chalkboards, your board markings and drawings that you have at half time, and your inspirational speeches that galvanizes this team to bounce back from a bad week. Those are the things that the fans don't see. The players only see that. So when they come out again for a game like today, and you know, it wasn't easy for them because they're walking around with their tails between their legs. They've had a whooping over the last week. Aston Villa, Bayern Munich. And so for you to get your guys up for another away victory is always hard in the Premier League. So good on you, Arteta. But your team sheet, man, you need to sit down with Edu and the coaching staff and figure this shit out, man. Because you got to bring some energy. You got to bring some Smith Rowe energy. You got to bring some Nelson energy. I like that you rested Jorginho today, so Jorginho's going to be fit to face his previous team, Chelsea, midweek. But please, man, get some more game time for Thomas Partey. I think I've gone long enough here. Tony's eating. So Gary, you got the conch.
Right, so we are going to start with David Raya. Made one good save. Also claimed that ball off the top of Lamina's head, which was an impressive take. So I'm happy with his 7. Ben White. There was another time in the game where he doesn't really defend like he should. He's gone back to being the Ben White that makes these stupid little errors. Supported Saka okay today, but overall, I just think he's tired and he's playing with a knee injury. His knee's heavily strapped. There's no replacement there that can come and give him a break. So I'm happy with Ben White's 6. Saliba and Gabriel, I thought they was pretty solid today. Saliba made one error in the game where he the pass out. He was trying to find Saka, picked out a Wolves player, but again, I think that's just down to mental fatigue. You know, it's another player that's played every minute of every game this season in the Premier League and in Europe. There's no rest coming for him anytime soon. He's just got to grit his teeth and get through to the end of the season. So I'm happy with their 7s. I thought Gabriel, again, like you said, Apollo, I thought he was the better of the 2. And I think he's been the better of the 2 for large parts of the season. Kirill coming back in. Obviously, he had a bit of a stinker and was taken out. But when he plays, I think we're more solid than when we see Zinchenko at left back or the hybrid left back. And Gabriel doesn't have to do so much work covering. So when Zinchenko goes inverted, it's Gabriel that plays almost as a left back and centre back combined. But when Kirill's there, he just tends to occupy the left back spot and makes us look a lot more solid. So he was at fault for the chance that Wolves created, but overall his game was pretty solid today. So I'm happy with his 6. Havertz, he had a couple of chances. They was half chances, but he managed to get the strikes on target. You can't really ask for any more. He was a nuisance. He won balls in the air. He got back and he tackled. Just a normal Havertz game, really. He could have easily walked away with 2 goals, but he didn't. But all-round good performance. Happy with his 6. Declan Rice, I thought, was strong in the midfield. Made some barnstorming runs down the pitch, carrying the team up the field. Still, you want him to maybe release this ball a bit more like Thomas Partey does, but I'm sure that's something that he can get into his game. It's just going to be a working process. So happy with his 7. So excuse me. Martin Odegaard, again, led from the front. Another one that must be running on empty. He's the first to press. He works his socks off tirelessly, attack, defence. Pops up with the 2nd goal to really seal the game in the later stages. Captain's performance, 7.5 is a good mark. Trossard, I'm going to go to Trossard next. Trossard always seems to be in and amongst things when he plays. I thought there was a couple of things that he could have done slightly better with his...
Mikel Arteta, sorry to interrupt you, guys.
That's right, go on, mate.
It was nice, you needed the win.
Yeah, really happy. Obviously, the game tests you. You want to be at the top. You want to be fighting for big things. You have to show that resilience. And when a competition touches your ego and it questions who we are as a team, the best way to do it is on the pitch, to talk on the pitch, the way we've done, the way we perform, and with a game that we totally deserve to win.
Yeah, you think it was a good show of personality more than anything after everything that happened?
Yes, the desire to stand firm, make yourself big, and have an impact for the team. And this is what we discussed. And now is the time to prove who we are as a team. You want to make another step forward as a team, as a club. You need to live those weeks, and you have to live with whatever the outcome is, because you want to be at the top. There's only one way down, and you have to live with that. I think the players were really good today.
and Wolves really pushed you guys. So how big was it to get that clean sheet? Especially, do you think it was the sense of composure that you really need to show in the end of the season?
Yeah, because apart from that ball that we lost in the backline and they went through, we haven't conceded anything, and it's a lot of clean sheets already in a row in the Premier League, which is really difficult, and you need that platform to win the games in this league. So really happy.
How hard was it to find those right spaces and those right decisions as well in the final third?
Yeah, we opened them up a lot of times, but we liked that pass at the end. The shot that it was blocked, so it wasn't with the right quality. She made the keeper make some big saves as well, and overall, it's a team that has cost big teams points, and we have come here, and I think we deserve to win again.
Throughout the season, one of the main narratives around Arsenal is the progress and how you keep progressing compared to last season. So when you look back to the end of last season and the end of this season, what differences do you see?
I don't know. At the end of the season, I can tell you what the difference is. At the moment, we are fighting for the league again for 2 consecutive seasons. We had first experience in the Champions League for those boys, and we have come quite far. Not as far as we want, that's for sure, and we still want to improve a lot.
And you're back in the top of the table, so how much does it mean? How does it feel?
It's great. That's where we want to be. We lost it last week at home against Aston Villa. We didn't deserve to lose that game, but we lost it. This is football. When you look the run that we've been in since January, it's unbelievable. And it's still not top of the league, or where we are today for a few hours, and let's see what happens.
And another big week ahead, you can open 4 points to Manchester City. So how do you approach this possibility?
Well, that we have to beat Chelsea now, and they're in good form. I was watching the game today against City, and they are really good side. I know Mauricio really well. And we have to go into Ireland big time in front of our crowd again on Tuesday and give it a real go.
Well done.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's a good point. I'm glad he says things like that, because I say things like that, and it just shows and look, everyone's allowed to give their opinions, and if things are bad, call it out. But at the same time, you know me, always be balanced in your views. And some of the narrative, especially on the forum, has just been so bad over the last week. And it's like, wake up, guys. The team has literally been winning every game. We're in July. We're in mid-April. And the team's just suffered like the first 2 losses of the year. And they've been winning like every single game throughout. So they've been on a remarkable run. And the worst thing about it is just what Arteta said. It's still not good enough. With all of that we've done, it's still not enough.
Yeah, it's a crazy situation. I think for me, it was just the manner of the 2 defeats against Bayern and Villa. We should have been outside against Villa in the first half, like we should have been in the first game against them, and against Bayern. I just don't think we tried enough towards the end of the game. That's a disappointment to me.
Yeah, it reminded me of the Fulham game. When we lost to Fulham, we should have been up 2 or 3-0. I'm not gonna. The West Ham game was a complete throwaway. We were awful in that game at home. But the Fulham game, we should have easily won the game, and it just didn't happen. And yeah. Richard said, picture this, the panel may be given marks to Premier League greats, champs, deep breath, no need to be starstruck, diplomatic. Sometimes there is, because I always shoot for balance. And Richard says, Arteta has a tougher task next season. And yeah, every season is going to be harder than the last. And the reason why is because it's twofold, really. Number one is because the league gets tougher. Our rivals are strengthening. They want to be where we are. We're challenging City. Liverpool are back into the mix this year. Our rivals want to be in our shoes. They want to be where Arsenal are. And so it's harder, that they have the saying in the business world, if you're standing still, you're falling behind. And this is why I say to Bertrand, when Bertrand's like, Arteta spent this amount of money, spent that money, they don't make a difference. Everybody's spending money now. Spending money does not make you special. And if you're Chelsea, you spend $1 billion and you're in the mid-table. So money has nothing to do with anything now. That is just the going rate. If you're not spending money, then you can waive any admirations of competing in this league goodbye. Yeah. So when Bertrand brings the money thing up, he knows, I don't agree with it. But the bottom line is, it's extremely hard. And next year, Pep's going to realize, Pep's shaken right now. Could you imagine? Pep Guardiola has had 2 close rivals, not 1, but 2, battling to take his crown. So what do you think he's going to do in the summer? Strengthen. Yeah. Liverpool, when they get a manager in, God bless them, they're going to have to show him some love. So I don't know how much money he's going to get. Spurs are going to, Postecoglou, he's only had 2 transfer windows. And then one of them, he was told he couldn't spend any money. So he's going to strengthen. Man United's always going to spend money because they earn the most merchandising money in the world. So this is the world we live in. You know, a lot of people saying if Arteta doesn't get it done this year, sack him. Why? He's brought us from, we were 40 points adrift of this lot. Yeah. A couple of years ago, we were 40 points off the leaders. Now we're going toe-to-toe. Not just going toe-to-toe, but we're beating them. We took 4 points off Liverpool and City. If that's not progress, then someone else tell me otherwise. Yeah, Gary, finish what you're saying.
Yeah, so I agree with you, by the way, Apollo, with what you just said. So Trossard, he's always in and amongst things. Always seems to be popping up with an important goal here, there, and everywhere whenever he plays. I really love him as a player. Again, we don't know if his best position is on the wing, as a 10, as an 8, as a false 9, but I think you have to do what you can to get this guy in the team. So I'm going to give him a 7.5. Pops up with the all-important first goal, which sets us on the road to another victory. Saka, the guy is just dead. He has nothing left to give, and it's clearly visible in his performances in the last 5 or 6 games. He has run into that wall, and there's no going over it. He's finished out here, and again he plays the whole game. You've got Reece Nelson sitting on the bench. You've got Emil Smith-Rowe sitting on the bench. You can't give this guy a 5-minute break. I just don't, for the life of me, I just don't understand it. Whether he's carrying an injury or not, some say he's got a bad Achilles. We don't really know, but Arteta has to find a way to give this guy enough rest for his whole body to recover, to see the best of him. I don't know how he does that. Well, I do know how he does that. It's just for some reason he just doesn't want to do it. And you know, we can talk about signing this guy, signing that guy. Are you going to play these people? Because you don't trust the bench that you've got. So if you sign people, are you going to trust them any more than what you don't trust the people that you've got now? So Saka, not his best game, but I'm happy with his 5. But the guy, he's only going to be asked to go again on Tuesday against Chelsea. 72-hour turnaround, so it'll be a day of rest probably tomorrow. And then or light training tomorrow, then heavy training on the Tuesday, sorry. And no, sorry, on the Monday, and then it's Chelsea on the Tuesday. So he's only going to get probably 1.5 sessions to sort of get any kind of rest. I just don't understand it. But you know, and it really disappoints me. You know, it's something that we all said Arteta needed to get right. And although we've seen little bits of it, I don't think we've seen enough. I really don't, and it's an area that he must improve. Right, I left Jesus to last because I think this guy is the biggest problem with the team. He wants to play as a 9. He clearly doesn't play as a 9. There were so many occasions today where he is not in the right position. He's not getting in the box for tap-ins.
Gary, have you noticed since he's been reintroduced back into the team, Bayern Munich, Aston Villa, we've just don't look anywhere near what we've looked when he was absent.
Yeah, I think it's the stuff that he wants to do with the ball. You know, I mean, the goal that Trossard scored, you can clearly see he's trying to drag that back with his right foot onto his left to go in between the defenders. And as he drags it back, it literally pops off his left boot and rolls back to Trossard. He doesn't mean to make that pass, but the pass was the only option he had. You know, we saw a touch where Tony went, what the hell is he doing? You know, the first touch, he couldn't control it. The second touch was even worse. And instead of going forward, he went 15 yards back towards his own goal. Mm-hmm. You know, so listen, I said it the other day, we've gone back to pre-Dubai where we was overcomplicating everything. We came back from Dubai and we kept things so simple, pass, move, 1-2 touch stuff. People couldn't get near us. And somehow we've gone backwards. And now we want to overcomplicate things. I mean, how many times today, Saka, Odegaard, White, on the edge of the area, trying to play these little balls through, and it was getting blocked. It was 7-8 times, if not more than that. You know, keep football simple, and you will win 9 out of 10 games easily, because we're strong at the back. We're strong at the back. We're strong in midfield. We can score goals, but we have to keep things simple. So I would be inclined to cash in on Jesus in the summer. If we're going to sign a striker, I don't think there's a place for Jesus if we're going to get a winger as well, because obviously Martinelli and Trossard play left, and I would be inclined to cash in on Jesus. He's just not what we need. You know, he was brought here for experience, and he's benefited the team in some games with experience. But I think the team evolves as it goes along, and I think players like Zinchenko, Jesus, Martinelli to a certain extent are in danger of getting left behind. So I'm going to give Jesus a 4.
So I'm just looking at he's played in 23 games in the league this season. Guess how much goals he scored?
6.
Jesus. Tony?
6.
4.
Wow.
4. That's even worse.
He scored 4 goals in 23 games.
That's almost 1 in every 5.5, right?
Yeah, but hear the joke. Everyone's bashing me because Nketiah has scored 5 goals
in 10 games.
He's had 10 starts, yeah.
And
we get bashed for that, and yeah, Jesus seems to, and no one's saying Jesus is the answer. It's just, why is he playing? Like when I saw him on the team sheet today, I was like, I even said to you, "Oh, Jesus must be on the left."
Well, I honestly thought the team sheet. I honestly thought the team sheet today would have contained Eddie and maybe Reece Nelson. I know I can understand the importance of wanting to win the game to keep the pressure on at the top of the league. I get that, but I also get that you're asking these players to go again and again and again and again every 3 days, and I just don't. That's what I don't understand.
Gary, can I just interject, because I brought some up that was on Sky Sports just a minute ago that basically reiterates your point. Just give me a sec, Apollo.
No problem. Shout out to GK. It's good to see you, bro. GK says, does the fellas believe there's a place for Havertz? Me personally, I didn't want him. I don't think any of us wanted him. But now he's here, and now he's a part. Yeah, now he's a part of everything, and now I can see what he can do.
One of the best players on the pitch today. Yeah. I was alluding to is basically how our manager is utilizing his squad. So this is straight from Sky Sports. Minutes played by the top 3 clubs, most in the Premier League this season. You can see how much our players are actually playing, and some of these statistics make sense. I mean, William Saliba, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see Saliba and Gabriel up there. What I am surprised to see is Martin Odegaard. What I am surprised to see is Ben White, considering he has an injury.
Yeah, I think it's Arteta's 4th year. So, and I say this all the time, he's figuring it out. Arteta is figuring it out. We just have to understand that we have a manager who's figuring it out, young players who are figuring it out, a new technical director in Edu who's figuring it out. We go as they go, and they're all growing together. It's not like we're sitting here and we're regressing. Any fan who wants to sign up to that, you are being negative. Yeah, I say you can give your views and your opinions. I respect them all. But if you're going to tell me today that we're regressing, then I'm calling you out, because this team every year is showing improvement. Now that might change next year, but if it does, we'll deal with it when it happens. But as far as then here and now, the team is showing incremental process in, quite frankly, and this is proven, the most competitive Premier League time that we're seeing in history. No season before has ever had 2 teams following the title chasers. That's 3 teams within 2 points of each other after 33 games. Never happened. Not once. 2 teams, yeah. But 3 teams, no, it's never happened. So this is the most competitive that the league has ever been. And you've got teams we're up against who have already won the title. They're more experienced. And that's the managers, the players. We're having to deal with all of that, guys. So we just need a little bit more understanding from our fan base in that regard. Go on, Tony.
Yeah, another thing that, a lot of fans have had a big go about us losing to the worst Bayern team. Well, Bayern Munich are on 78 points. Last year, I saw that. They won the league with 71 points. So they're better than they was last year. They're better than they was the year before. But the only reason they lost the league this year is because another team have won all their games and haven't lost a single point. But literally, Bayern are no worse than they have been in the last 5 or 6 years. They've been in the semi-final, quarter-final of the Champions League in lots of seasons in the last 3 out of the last 5 years or whatever it is.
They've been knocked out at this stage the last 3 years.
Right. So they're not a weak team. They're not the weakest that you've ever seen.
But Tony, tell them, tell the people who are watching. We've got people on YouTube watching. We've got 400 people on Twitter watching. Tell them how long it took Pep Guardiola to crack the Champions League. Like, we get knocked out in the quarterfinals. It's our first attempt in 7 years. But it's taken like 8 years for Pep to go in and actually win the damn thing. And we're talking about Man City, who have got no restrictions whatsoever. None in the courtroom, in the transfer market, anywhere. Like, they're free to go and do whatever they want. We're the best manager in the world. And it still took them 8 years to win it.
And they're not going to win it this year.
But let's not also forget that Guardiola couldn't win the Champions League with the Bayern Munich when they was proper Bayern Munich.
And that was the best Bayern Munich. Yeah.
In 4 attempts.
Yeah.
He couldn't get nowhere near it.
But apparently, Unai Emery is a better coach.
Then who?
Than Arteta.
Well,
Some
I've never
would even
seen.
say he's a better coach than Pep Guardiola, because I see this huge swell of people going, "Oh, well, look, we should have kept Unai Emery because look at what he's doing at Villa."
Well, I can tell you what he did at Arsenal. He emptied the stadium. It was half full.
Let's be fair. After Wenger,
there was 30,000 fans in that stadium, not 60,000.
Listen, after Arsene Wenger left, whoever was going to get the job, it was a poison chalice. Right.
But even when you say that, Arteta was still lined up for the job. It's just they didn't. And I'm blaming Ivan Gazidis. I'm blaming him because he's the one that wanted to break it down and have it by committee. Yeah, Raul Sanelli and too much. What is it? Too much cooks in the kitchen. Yeah, he's the one that wanted that, and all it did was it undermined Unai Emery. It pushed us back, and realistically, Arteta was interviewed before Emery and said, "What is that? What you're doing? No, I'm only here to come in and take over from what Wenger was doing." And so slowly, when they did get Arteta in, after 6 months, they had the conversation and they said, "Okay, you're a manager. You're not a head coach." So that was just foolishness. Raul Sanelli and Ivan Gazidis, just foolishness that really, really would have destroyed us. And they changed it for a reason, as I said, because 30,000 people say, when you stand up in the stadium and they go, "There's 59,000, that's tickets sold." The attendance the stadium was half empty. And when you're a team and a manager and an owner, and you're seeing your prized possession with the fans who are not supporting you anymore, you got to make changes. Yeah. And although Unai Emery didn't get his dues, he was still a part of that process. He has to take his licks like everybody else. Tony, did you do your ratings?
No, that's why I brought them back up again.
All right.
Because I want to be very controversial.
No, that's good. Controversial is good.
I like to bring to the case some additional statistics that I want to just work on. Talking about constant improvement. Well, 2 out of the 6 faces that you see weren't at the club last year. So if we're talking about constant improvement, I don't think we had 6 players scoring 10 plus Premier League.
Wasn't it 4? Wasn't it Saka, Martinelli, Odegaard, and Jesus?
Yeah. So
if memory serves me correctly.
So with Leandro joining the party with his 10th goal contribution today, we've smashed another barrier. And look at
the only thing with that is Jesus is not in it, because really and truly that should be 7, shouldn't it?
Yeah. And I don't think he would have got in it because of the way he plays. I really don't. Because since he's come back, Gary, let's be honest, how many goals he scored? 1?
I don't even know the answer to that question.
Gary, in the time that Jesus has been back, since he's come back, don't forget, I think he was back for the Sheffield United game where we scored 6.
And he didn't score in that game.
Exactly.
He didn't score in that game.
Exactly.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you how many. Listen, the things that he does now go unnoticed because he doesn't really do much.
And then we analysed him today, Gal, and we realised, well, hang on a second, everybody else has had key passes, everybody else has had touches in the box, everybody else has had shots on target. Why have you not had this? Are you not meant to be that guy that's meant to be feeding off of Kai Havertz and getting all these opportunities to score a goal? Because everybody else is feeding. Why aren't you eating?
Yeah, let me guys, everyone talks about, do we need a striker? It's not because of the likes of Havertz, and it's not because of the likes of Nketiah. The reason why we need a striker is because of Jesus. He is our designated number 1 striker. He is. And 4 goals in 26 games this season is not good enough. That's not good enough for Burnley, let alone
how many assists has he got, Apollo? Or do you know?
4.
So Yeah, that's terrible stats, man. 4 assists and 4 goals in 26 games is absolutely shocking for a number 9.
It's not good enough. It's not good enough, mate. It's not good enough.
So yeah, that's look, we look at these stats and we go at the bottom. It says no team has more players in double figures, and guess what? This was the same situation last year.
Yeah, it was.
We had the most players in double digits last year, and we've done it again. And we've improved. We played in a Champions League quarterfinal, but once again, people are saying Arteta out.
And I want to say, and you know me and Eddie Nketiah, yeah? I want to say that we had a 5-point lead in the Premier League when Jesus got injured. And 3.5 months later, when Jesus came back, we still had a 5-point lead. And Nketiah had 4 goals in 9 starts then. And not only did he have 4 goals in 9 starts, he played every single game, 99, 95 minutes without a rest.
With an ankle injury as well.
Ankle injury, exactly.
Yeah. So I just want to carry on quickly on my point here. Victor says Unai Emery is better by a country mile, but he didn't have the funding. The board was corrupt. So everywhere that Unai Emery's gone, he's been a very successful coach. I don't want to detract from what he has done as a manager. He's phenomenal. Yeah. He went to Paris Saint-Germain. He won the league, the cup, the league of the cup, the French league. He's won the Europa League with Villarreal. He's won it with 3 times with Seville. You know, look, well done to him. He's obviously got something special about himself. But, you know, does he ever have what it takes to be, considering that he's been in this game as long as he have, to be competing at the levels with your Pep Guardiolas, your Ancelottis, you know, these guys. In all his years of management, has he ever rubbed shoulders with those guys? Because
that's why I brought it up. He's been a manager since 2004, 20 years.
Guardiola,
20 years.
Klopp, Ancelotti, yeah, they're all managers that we can say are top 3 managers.
Yeah.
Because they've all won a Champions League, yeah? And then you've got some, you know, people behind him like Zidane has won it. He's done everything. He's won everything. But nobody's going to put Unai Emery in that conversation.
Yeah, and Tony, what do I call Unai Emery? You lot hear me say it every week. Second tier. That's why I say he's the second tier manager. Because
if Victor wants to call Mikel Arteta second tier or third tier, that's your opinion. But what I'm saying is, Mikel Arteta is running a tier 1 manager, a tier 1 team, the closest they've ever been, right? And people want to say he's not good enough, or Unai Emery is this much better. Is Unai Emery really that much better? Because he ain't running them teams to me. I've never seen him in a battle with Ancelotti.
Well, you just have to look at his years in Spain. And ask yourself, how many times has he battled Guardiola, Zidane, Simone, Diego Simone? How much times has he battled them lot for a title?
You know, people,
not
even that lovely name that you brought up, Apollo, Diego Simeone has been battling in Spain against the best.
He's won the title there. He's won the title.
He's won the title. He's been to the promised land. Yeah. Unai Emery is still, everyone's saying, oh, he ain't being funded, blah, blah, this, that, and the other. If he was that good, why isn't he being chosen to be at the helm of Barcelona or Real Madrid?
Yeah, I totally agree.
And you know how much times those clubs turn over a manager. They literally look at every other couple of years, they're going, we're going to turn over a manager. And Unai Emery's name ain't on there. But guess whose name was called out this summer? Arteta was linked with the Barcelona job. Did you know that?
Yeah, saw rumours.
Yeah.
So I just want to dismiss this foolery about Unai Emery was the answer. We should have given him X number of years. I'm not poo-pooing him in saying that he's not good enough. But I'm just saying, look, we got what we got. Let's run with it. And let's claim allegiance to the fact that our manager is doing something that actually Unai Emery ain't done.
Yeah, he was supposed to get us in the top 4. He was supposed to win us the Europa. He lost in the Europa final, and he bottled top 4 by a point.
There's the correction on your point earlier about clean sheets, Apollo. We're one away from matching Man United and Chelsea.
Yeah, I did bring up that Chelsea team, remember? The one that set the Premier League record with the goals let in.
Today, our XG 1.21. We've gone over our XG. So, 24 shots, 9 on target.
You want that to at least be 50%, don't you?
You'd like it to be. You'd like it to be. I'm not going to complain, Gaz. I'm not going to complain. I'll take that, knowing that, you know what, go away, come back on Tuesday and improve. Because we're at home on Tuesday. Don't forget that. We're away today. We're at home on Tuesday. Tuesday is where we need to have improvement on that shots on target if we're getting 24 shots on goal.
Yeah.
As you said, Apollo, 53 touches in the opposition box. Phenomenal. So that's that. Let me get back to your rating. So based on what I just saw, I just want to say this. Our defense is phenomenal. 6 clean sheets in a row away from home.
Yeah.
For that reason, I'm giving David Raya an 8. I'm giving Ben White an 8. I'm giving Saliba an 8. I'm giving Gabriel an 8. And I'm giving Kivior a 7 because I thought it was slightly below the rest. Ben White, I have to mark up above because ultimately he does all that hard work in the final third. There was at least 2 occasions, where he's put through clean balls where someone just needs to tap the ball in the net. So considering that Saliba and Gabriel are getting applauded for keeping a clean sheet, Ben White, I know he's likely for that error that Gary so often pulls him up on, but I think he's still a good defender. But more importantly, he's a good defender, unlike Zinchenko, because he chooses his moments when he's going to go forward. And let's be honest, he helps out Saka more than anybody does on the left side. Even Zinchenko, when he comes in first, guess where he ends up? He ends up on the right side of the pitch.
Yeah, and that means Martinelli doesn't get no support.
He's not helping Martinelli.
And he's not
helping Trossard.
And he didn't have that support last year as well. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's that. When we move into the midfield, Havertz 8. Thought he was phenomenal today.
Tony?
All over the pitch. Can I get that removed? Sorry.
Yep.
Thank you. So Havertz 8. I thought he was phenomenal. As we said, aerial duels 1. He was a pest for the defenders. And
that's what he does. That's what he does, Tone. That's what he does.
That's what he does. Yeah. We know his fallibilities, but let's be honest. He contributes a hell of a lot to the way we play. And when he's confident, look, that spell where he was scoring goal after goal after goal, I just want him to nick another goal against Chelsea on Tuesday. Just think how confident he will be going, coming back home to his home pitch, seeing his old team and smashing a goal against them. And we can sing our song.
Yep.
I want him to score against Chelsea, no doubt. Declan Rice, I'll give Rice an 8. I'll give Odegaard a 9. I'll give him an 8.5, actually. I'll give Jesus a 5. I can't give him any more than that. I think a 5 is very, what's the word I'm looking for? I think it's a good mark for him. It could have been a 4. Because from what we're expecting of a striker in the Premier League at a club like Arsenal, he's hugely underperforming. So for him to take a 5, he should be thanking us. Saka clearly off the ball. I'll give him a little bit more than Jesus because he just creates a little bit more. So I'm giving him a 6. But we've also seen how many minutes Saka is playing. And we know we've been talking about it for how many shows on the trot that he needs a rest. Let him be the impact substitute. Just let Reece play the 70 minutes and let Saka see if he can be an impact sub at 70. Trossard. Oh, Trossard. I'm going to give him an 8. He scored a goal. Bit of a shank, but hey, it got us on our way. And you know what? He works. He's a hard-working player. You know, he doesn't do everything right, but he works hard. Give him 7.5, actually, 7.5. As far as Arteta is concerned, I'm happy with your 7.